Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to your Chelsea news. In today's video, we have an update regarding Axel Disasi's future. Both Victor Osimhen and Victor Gyokeres have had their transfer fees revealed for this summer. The race to sign Marc Guehi just got interesting. Chelsea are interested in a different forward that is not on the shortlist. And finally, Nicolas Jackson could be for sale. Now, of course, I'll be giving my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10k by the end of 2025. Kicking things off, Sam J. Dean has reported at least 3 Premier League clubs are showing interest in Brighton forward Xiao Pedro ahead of a possible summer transfer. Arsenal, Chelsea and Liverpool are all among the Brazilian's admirers. This is very interesting to me. I think Xiao Pedro has had a very good season at Brighton. They are a club that typically don't create nowhere near as many chances as a club like Chelsea. We know that we need a clinical forward. It's no surprise that Xiao Pedro has interest from other Premier League clubs because I feel like he is the type of player that Brighton kind of bring in as a no-one, cultivate, develop and then sell for a high profit. Brighton have the perfect footballing model, as for the words of Clown Lake, right? That's what they say. We want to model everything around Brighton because they do things right. They bring in talent, they develop them, they sell them from a high profit. They've done it multiple times. Cucurella, Moises Caicedo, the list goes on. This is just what they do. So it's no surprise that Xiao Pedro has done well this season. He's proven that he is a good goal scorer. His finishing is great. It's more of a natural finisher type player, right? Which is a lot of clubs are screaming for right now. It's no surprise he's got interest. And the fact that Arsenal, Chelsea and Liverpool are all among those Premier League clubs that are looking, all looking for a number 9. I've said this in multiple videos. This summer transfer window is vital for a lot of clubs to secure the right number 9. And the world football right now is in a shortage of world-class number 9s. Just because of the way the game has developed in the last 10 years, there's just less strikers about, right? Unless you go from the world's best and list down. List me 15 world-class strikers. List me 10 world-class strikers. You'll struggle to do that in terms of the expectations you want these forwards to be hitting as soon as they hit the ground running, right? So it makes perfect sense. It's a Premier League move. They know he's got Premier League experience. He's a natural finisher. And if you play well for Brighton, it's like a badge of honour, right? Because everyone that plays well for Brighton has a massive price tag attached to them and clubs will pay them. So be very interesting. On Chelsea's behalf, Xiao Pedro, from what I've seen, hasn't really been on any shortlists or any players that we're really specifically looking at. So this could be more of an exploratory thing, just having talks of like how much would you be willing to let him go for, more of a data-driven thing, like, oh, he's more of a natural finisher. He's more clinical than, for example, Jackson, which isn't hard to be fair. Let's be honest, how many chances he misses. And that's not a dig at him. We know he's improved, but regardless, we know that Chelsea need a number 9. I'd be very interested to see what the transfer fee would be and the wages he would demand would be. Not to say that I want to go in for Xiao Pedro. I wouldn't be disappointed if we signed him. I think he'd be a fantastic squad player. I don't think he'll be the main number 9 and the focal point for Chelsea, but I could see him doing well at any of those 3 clubs that he's been linked to. At Chelsea, Arsenal or Liverpool. I think for Chelsea, he'd be a great squad player. I think he is better than Jackson. He would get in just because he's more of a natural finisher than Jackson. Jackson, people forget, is a winger that's converted to a forward. Pedro seems to be a forward. And he can play, he's very versatile in where he can play and where he can score goals from. I would be interested to have that conversation of, okay, cool. How much do you want for him? How much does he want in weekly wages wise? Is it manageable? Can we add him to the bottom of our shortlist if we can't secure our number 1, number 2 or number 3 targets, which I'm hoping and praying that Chelsea can secure their number 1 targets this summer because it's so pivotal. It's so vital in our progression. But I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Would you take someone like Xiao Pedro? Do you think he's worth it? Would you just not even bother inquiring about him? Or do you rate him as a Premier League striker? Team Talk have reported that Newcastle have moved ahead of Chelsea in the race to sign defender Marc Guehi from Crystal Palace. This is where things get interesting. Marc Guehi is another player who is hot property in this summer transfer window. Chelsea have been heavily linked with him. Newcastle heavily linked with him. He is an anomaly in terms of Chelsea's transfer policy because he's still young, but he's got a load of experience in the Premier League. He's played at international level. He played with England all the way up to the finals of the Euros. He's done it at the international stage. He can do it in the Premier League. I think he's a very good defender. I think he's solid in terms of his defensive awareness, his defensive abilities. He's a great ball-carrying centre-back. He's good in the air. Doesn't seem to lose his head too much. I'm not saying that he's perfect, but he's just a step above who we currently have at centre-back, in my opinion. You have someone like Levi Colwill, who the jury's still out for a lot of Chelsea fans, whether he's worth having in the team or we need to get rid of him and profit on him or whatnot. Me personally, he is young. I think he's got a fantastic skill set. He is going to develop, and I feel like Enzo Maresca and the board are going to stick with Colwill unless a ridiculous bid comes in for him, because he is pure profit, right? But you partnering with someone like Marc Guehi in the absence of Fofana, I think that's amazing. Look how well Chalobah and Gahhe did as a partnership. That could be rekindled. If we keep Chalobah, we signed Gahhe, beat Newcastle to it. Again, fantastic partnership. I think it just adds a lot of diversity in our back line, and I think it adds another dimension or two within them centre-backs. The interesting thing is Newcastle are also massively wanting Gahhe. They massively want Gahhe. They fit his style of play perfectly from a centre-back standpoint. He's tall, he's great in the air, he's good with the ball at his feet. He can be aggressive. He can hold his line. And again, he's that anomaly of being young but still having loads of experience. My concern is I wouldn't be paying like any more than 60 million for Marc Guehi, and that's personally, right? Everyone's going to have their own opinion, their own sort of ceiling of what they're willing to pay for Marc Guehi, and that's fair enough, right? It's all subjective, all down to opinion. I would be curious to know what Newcastle are willing to offer. I would be curious to know what Chelsea are willing to go to maximum, because obviously we were heavily linked with Gahhe in the end of the summer transfer window. Nothing materialised. Again, in the January window with an inflated price of around £80 million, which is wild. You have to pay that January tax and that English tax on top, right? People forget that, the English tax and the January tax, which makes any player midway through the season joining another Premier League rival or another London club in terms of, Crystal Palace and their position with their relationship with Chelsea, you're going to have to pay the premium because you're ripping out the heart of the back line in the middle of a season, right? Where things are, can be crunch time for a lot of teams, or they're looking to kick on in the second half of the season. So it'll be very interesting to see what that price tag is in the summer, what, the sort of numbers, the ballpark figures that are thrown around for Marc Guehi, and what Chelsea are willing to pay. It seems like we are relatively serious about Marc Guehi because of the amount of reports that keep coming up about him. I would take him in a heartbeat. I think he's a fantastic centre-back. Obviously, Dean Huijsen is going to Real Madrid now. We lost out on that. We were never going to compete with Madrid in that sense. They are one of the big, if not the biggest club in the world. Dean Huijsen publicly said many, many times, even as a youngster, like his dream is to play for Madrid. So yeah, he's going there. I think Marc Guehi is a very, very good option. He was on that shortlist I revealed in previous videos. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It shows the David Ornstein leaked a list of Chelsea's shortlist for this summer. He was on there. I'd take him in a heartbeat. Dean Huijsen and Gahhe were both on there. If Huijsen's gone, I think we're going to go all in for someone like Gahhe. Obviously, you've got other options. You've got like Jonathan Tah on a free. I think he'd be a good option as well to explore. Maybe we are, maybe we haven't. There's been no reports of it as of yet. But I want to know what you guys think. Would you take Marc Guehi? What is the maximum that you would pay for him in the summer? And in terms of weekly wages, I don't know what he's currently on, but I'm assuming he would fit into Chelsea's wage structure, as why he's on our shortlist. Whether that be a pay increase from Crystal Palace. We know historically that Crystal Palace can be very difficult to negotiate with, especially on a Chelsea front. Look at what we did with the Elise deal last summer. We absolutely bottled it. And Palace proved to be quite difficult to negotiate with. Maybe that's because we're a London club. I don't know. Maybe it's because they just don't like Chelsea. Maybe they want to maximise what they can get for their players. Either way, fair play to them. They managed to secure the deal with Bayern Munich in the end. And Elise went and got the wages that he wanted. But I would take Marc Guehi. I would be interested to know your thoughts in the comments. How much would you pay for him? Are you even interested in someone like Gahhe? And do you think we could beat Newcastle to it in a straightforward race? Santi JFM has reported that Aston Villa want to keep Axel Disasi. Discussions have already begun with the player, and it will then be time to discuss the matter with Chelsea. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I am going to be very honest. You guys know this that have been watching me for a while. I am not Axel Disasi's biggest fan. I've been very public about that. I will say that I admire him for his service at Chelsea because we've been in a very rocky and unstable position for many seasons now, and he was a big part of that. He was also part of a back four that him and Badiashile played a majority of games where we conceded the most goals in our Premier League history. He has had a handful of good games for Chelsea, and I mean a handful because you could probably count them on one hand and still have fingers left over to count. I am not a big fan of Disasi. Yes, we played him right back when he is a centre-back. We played him centre-back. I've seen milk turn quicker than this guy. I'm not a fan. And that's not me just throwing shade and shooting shots at him, right? I understand he's had very good games, selectively, and he has done a job for Chelsea. So I respect him for that, especially in uncertain times. However, if Aston Villa want to keep him, I will drive him to Aston Villa myself. Not a problem. He is the number one name on my list. Him, to be fair, Badiashile was also up there as well. in terms of summer transfers out, we need to get rid of. However, I'm still on the fence with Badiashile because I tell you what, this season when he has come on as a substitute or had to do a job, he's actually played very well and done his role very well. So I feel like there is still potential for him. I think he has not saved his position, in my opinion, but out of the two, Disasi's got to go for me. I just don't think he fits Maresca's system. I think he's too slow. And if Villa like him, cool, you can have him, man. You can have him. We should be paying you to take him, if I'm being honest. So if we could get any sort of money for Axel Disasi, I would be more than happy. If he wants to go, thank you for your service. Let me know what time you need picking up. I will drop you off at Villa, and you can crack on and have a great career, still in the Premier League, playing Champions League football with Aston Villa, in my opinion. You do you, bro. You do you. But I want to know what you guys think of Axel Disasi. Would you keep him? Do you think he's a good squad player? Do you think that maybe I'm being a bit too harsh on him? Would you sell him to someone like Aston Villa? How much do you think we will get for Axel Disasi? Do you think he still has a future at Chelsea? If he was to return from loan, do you think he can make an impact coming to the squad for next season? I personally just don't think so. I don't see it. And I was calling for him to be sold at the end of last summer and in the January window, which didn't happen. We did loan him out, obviously, to Villa. And he seems to be playing okay for Villa, enough that Villa want to keep him. So, yeah, cool. Have him. Not a problem. I wonder how much we will get for Axel Disasi. He is one of the Monaco brothers, as they call him, with him and Badiashile, where we spent a lot of money on them. So I don't know whether we will break even. We might even make a loss on him. But at this point, with amortization, etc., over the seasons, I don't know what will make money, lose money. At this point, I just want him gone because it frees up wages and it gives us a bit of money to then go towards our main priorities this summer. That's just my opinion. I want to know what you guys think down below. BBC Sport have reported that 26-year-old striker duo Victor Osimhen and Victor Gyokeres are both thought to be available for around £60 million this summer. This is huge. This is huge. Now, again, BBC Sport are the most reliable. I'm just taking this with a pinch of salt. But even if it's within these regions, it is a steal for both of the strikers. We know that when we first went in for Victor Osimhen, it was around that €75 million mark, or maybe €80 million. And there was a few people on the fence like, oh, it's a bit too much. I don't really know. Obviously, the wages have obviously been an issue. It's an ongoing thing. And according to multiple sources, some unreliable, some reliable, some other sources as well, when you mix them together, it looks like Chelsea still admire Victor Osimhen, and it looks like we're going to try and negotiate the payment structure of his wages to see if we can reduce it. Victor Gyokeres, on the other hand, I would take him in a heartbeat. I'll take either of these in a heartbeat. These completely transform Chelsea's number 9. They fix the number 9 problem. They transform our attack, in my opinion. They are world-class strikers, right? I would happily take either of them, as long as the club can find something that makes them happy. Because as fans, we just want a goal scorer, right? We just want someone to finish off all the chances we create. We need someone that's good in the air. We need a killer. We need a clinical finisher. These two fit the bill. Now, for £60 million, it's an absolute bargain for both of these. And there's also been a lot of reports that Arsenal are closing in on Victor Gyokeres, which wouldn't surprise me. He looks like an Arsenal player, from being honest. I know that sounds like a strange thing to say, but it also, Arsenal are serious about getting a number 9 this summer. They're serious about getting a number 9. We're serious about getting a number 9. You've also got the likes of Liverpool, potentially Newcastle if they get rid of Isak, which I don't think they will, but you never know. I feel like Gyokeres will end up at Arsenal. In my opinion, all the paths are leading to Victor Osimhen. If we can reduce his wages, even if it's just a slight bit, we can secure his signature. And for £60 million, or in and around that region, it's an absolute bargain for both of those. Another season's passed from last summer. The fees have dropped a little bit, where it makes it that a little bit more affordable. It's just the wages for me. But I would be happy with either of these strikers. Like I said, with a lot of reports in the last few days, Arsenal have been heavily linked with Gyokeres, speaking to his camp, giving him initial contracts of like, this is what we want to offer you. Seems like the ball's in their court, really, whether Gyokeres accepts or declines. If that is the case, then, and if Chelsea are interested, we need to stick our nose in and say, hey, before you decide, here is our offer, here's what we want to give you, and make him make that decision of kind of, do you want to go Arsenal or Chelsea? Despite all the other clubs that are probably linked with him, this guy has had more goals than games this season, which is outrageous. In the era of the internet and new age football, we've seemed to normalise that's just like a standard, and it's not. It's alien to be scoring more goals than games across a season. It's great when you're in a run of form and it's like, oh, we scored 6 goals in 4 games. You think, oh, wow, that's mental. But it's across a 4-game span, right? When you look at Gyokeres, it's across the whole season, and it's something like 68 goals in 62 games. It's wild. That's Erling Haaland numbers, and Erling Haaland is not on this planet in terms of goal scoring, right? We know that. He's done it at every club he's been at. If Gyokeres is another player that can replicate that, because he's kind of got the formula down of what works for him, mate, whoever signs him is going to have an absolute animal up front who's going to bag loads of goals. So let's just hope that Chelsea can secure one of these guys. But for £60 million, I think it's an absolute bargain. And I would love to know your thoughts down below. Would you prefer Gyokeres or Osimhen? Regardless of the wages, just as players, what do you think about them on a technical level? Who do you think improves Chelsea's attack more? I would love to know your thoughts. And finally, Matt Moretto has reported some major breaking news of multiple clubs have inquired for Nicolas Jackson, and it's not ruled out that he could be sold if a satisfactory offer arrives. Now, there's a lot to unpack here because Nicolas Jackson, to me, I feel like he brings a lot to the team. A lot of Chelsea fans go, look, yeah, yes, his finishing needs improvement. It's very, very obvious, right? But he brings a lot to the team in terms of the pressing, the determination, the link-up play. You can see it through the season. Now, this season specifically has been very strange for Nicolas Jackson because he started the season on fire. He got up to 9 goals and I think it was like 13 GA, right? 9 goals, few assists very, very quickly. And you were seeing this new side of Jackson of like, yo, he's actually taking his chances. He's having less chances missed, more chances scored, and less chances overall, right? We were like, oh, if you keep going this way, I even backed him at the start of the season to get 20 goals in the league this season, purely because of how the season started. And obviously I have egg on my face. Cool, I'm happy to have my hands up and say that I was wrong. Because you know, when you make early season predictions, you've got the rest of the season for it to unfold in your favour or not, right? That's just how predictions work. But Nicolas Jackson is a strange one because if he's not going to be Chelsea's number 9, which is very evident for next season, this summer is massively pivotal for Chelsea to secure a new number 9, a clinical finisher. I feel like Jackson has a very important squad role as a backup rotation striker so they can keep in competition with each other, but he can also play on the wing. So with this uncertainty of the left-hand side of, are we going to keep Sancho or send him back? Mudryk, obviously, we don't know what's going on with him. Yes, Noni can play on the left. Yes, Pedro can play on the left. But so can Nicolas Jackson. I can see Felix being sold as much as I would like to keep him at the club. But then with the likes of Esteval coming in, Paez, whether he stays or goes, Andre Santos, obviously you've got Sugo and all these other players, Petrovic coming back. We are strengthening our squad across that midfield and defensively with Petrovic, right? So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with that left wing position because if we get a clinical number 9, we essentially have whoever that number 9 is, Nicolas Jackson and Marc Guehi. And that is enough. That's enough for rotation throughout a season in all competitions, right? And if Jackson isn't getting minutes as a striker and we don't fix that left wing problem, then he is the natural fit to play on that left wing as well. So I feel like there are plenty of minutes for Nicolas Jackson next season. Now, obviously, he's in hot water because of the red card against Newcastle. Look, mistakes happen. He clearly didn't mean to do it, like in the terms of like he went out with vengeance, but I've said before, I've said on TikToks, I've said on here before, like, red card's a red card. It's not going to ruin his career. He'll bounce back. It was a stupid thing to do. We all know that. We move on, right? That's pretty much all I'm going to say. It is what it is. He's young, he's naive, he's learning. It's as simple as that. However, that's been the tipping point for a lot of Chelsea fans. A lot of Chelsea fans have never rated Jackson. That's fine. It's all subjective. A lot of Chelsea fans now want him gone. They're like, we've put up with you for 2 seasons. You're not improving. This season was weird. You had that good run of form. You then had a dry spell. Then you were injured for a month and a half. And then you've come back and you've not played well. And now you've got yourself suspended to the end of the season. So it is a very strange season for Jackson this season compared to last, where he played majority of the games, missed a load of chances, but still scored like 14 league goals or 17 in all comps or something like that, which is a pretty decent return in your first season as a out-and-out striker when you are naturally a winger that's been converted. So it'll be very interesting. Now, we purchased Jackson for what, 32 million, 31 million pounds? So it'll be very interesting what the club consider as a satisfactory offer. Is that breaking even? Is that they want 60 million as a minimum? Is it they'll take 40? Is it they'll take 35? I have no idea, and I'd love to know your thoughts down below. How much would you expect for Jackson? Firstly, do you want him sold, or do you want to keep him as part of the squad next season? How much do you think Chelsea would accept for him, and how much would you like to receive for him? Because honestly, I think he has an important role to play in the next coming seasons. And yes, this season's been a bit up and down. It showed very good signs of promise early on, and then he's kind of dipped off, and then he got injured, and he's not been the same since in the short period, and obviously now he's suspended. But I don't see the need of selling him completely. I could see clubs coming in for around 35-40 million for him. I think that's a fair price for Nicolas Jackson. I think he has got a high ceiling. He is going to develop, and I think he is going to be a very good player. Whether or not he continues his career as a number 9 or as more of a winger, drifting in, we shall soon see. But for me, I would keep Jackson. I think he's going to be an important squad player as long as Chelsea go out and secure that number 9 this summer, which we absolutely have to, because if we don't, it's an absolute joke. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Would you keep Jackson? Would you sell him? If you are to sell him, how much would you expect to get for him? And how much do you think the club would willingly accept for him? So that's the latest Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one. And I mean that, you are a real one. And secondly, there'll be a thumbnail that pops up on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.